Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I did this leafy peekaboo on a 20-ounce tumbler in a gold offset. So let's go ahead and get started. So I started off with this image from Etsy. It was kind of in a frame PNG. So when I uploaded it to Cricut, I split it in half by uploading half of the picture and then the other half of the picture. I then measured the circumference of the 20-ounce no taper tumbler from Griffin Blanks and made the length of the image that length so that it could fit around the cup. And then I printed it on some white Waterslide for LaserJet printers by Hayes Paper Company, which I'll have a discount code and list of supplies for a couple things down in the description. I put the Waterslide in lukewarm room temperature water and I let it sit in there for about 60 seconds. I test it by taking a corner of it and kind of rubbing it, and if the image easily moves from the paper, that means it's ready. If it's kind of stuck still, I wait and leave it in there for another 15-20 seconds. Now you're going to want to make sure that your cup is wet prior to applying the Waterslide, and then you're going to want to move it around a little bit to ensure that there are no bubbles or water's trapped under the image. And I will also add that because I used a LaserJet printer, I did not need to seal my Waterslide. If you are using an inkjet printer, make sure that you are buying Waterslide paper that is capable of printing with LaserJet or inkjet printers. So there is a difference. Inkjet printers, you do have to seal your Waterslide. You seal it. I always do 3 coats of clear gloss. And don't typically have any issues. I try and not work with Waterslides as often as possible, but hey, we do what we can. So I go ahead and pat this dry. You don't have to do this. I usually wait for it to dry, but you know me, I have absolutely no patience, so I didn't want to wait. And so I pat it dried. I made sure that all the extra water was gone, and then I went ahead and mixed together 20 milliliters of CCDIY's Ultra Clear Fast Set Epoxy. Now you don't add epoxy until the Waterslide is 100% dry. This is the image I was talking about, how I split it in half. And then, so what I did in Cricut was I uploaded the image, I then created an offset of the image, and then I also created a cut version of the image versus a print and cut version. That way I was able to make that gold offset. I used a brushed chrome gold metallic vinyl that you can find at createbyfirefly.com. And I also used a new blade for my Cricut, which I found has made things a whole lot easier when cutting vinyl or intricate designs. It really has made a difference, so I'll link that below too. So my design did mess up on the bottom, which it happens. I just loaded it wrong and it ended up getting caught up in my blade. The top was fine, so I went ahead and weeded that. I threw out the bottom portion and then recut it, which you'll see me weeding next. I will add that instead of using Waterslide, you are also able to use like printable vinyl or sticker paper or anything like that. That's perfectly fine. I just used Waterslide because that's what I had on hand and found easier. You could also do print and cut Waterslide. That way you can just literally print and cut and put it on top of a white base. But hey, it's completely up to you. It's your cup. It's whatever you want to do. I thought this way would be easier, which may not have been, but print and cut and me don't get along. So this was easier for me. Now, what you won't see is me laying the cut version of the image over the image. And that's because I accidentally deleted the video. And so I don't have it. So what I did was I carefully laid it over and then I sprayed the tumbler 2 to 3 coats with like a French white or something. I didn't have regular white on hand, but like a white spray paint from Rust-Oleum. And I recommend doing 2 to 3 coats. Because I didn't base the tumbler, you could kind of see where the stainless steel was. So it did take 3 coats for me to completely cover it. So again, up to you on what steps you want to include and don't want to include. That extra spray paint coat wasn't a huge deal. So here is just the example of what's what. And then here is me weeding this vinyl that I completely forgot to video or keep the video of me putting it on the cup. So I used Oracle 631 vinyl. I think I used white because I had an extra amount of white. And I recommend using 631 because it's a removable vinyl, so it won't really leave behind sticky residue like normal vinyl. Now, with that being said, if you leave this on here overnight or apply heat to it, there's a chance that the vinyl will leave behind a sticky residue and it'll be hard to clean up because of the spray paint base layer on there. You'll end up messing that up too. So as soon as you spray it and the spray paint is completely dry, I recommend pulling the vinyl so that you don't have any issues with that. You can also use alcohol and a Q-tip to clean up any spots that may have been messed up. But other than that, once you completely get done weeding all the vinyl off of there, you can then move on to the next step, which will then be epoxy. Some people go ahead and apply offsets right then and there. Me personally, I don't want to take the chance of messing up the spray paint and then having to start over or respray or anything like that. So I went ahead and added a layer of fast set epoxy, but I did a little trick to it that I learned from TikTok, which was TikTok or craft groups, one or the other, that you add a little bit of blue dye, so alcohol ink, food dye, epoxy dye, just a tiny little bit, and you'll be able to help prevent the yellowing of the cup. So you should not use fast set epoxy on white or light colored cups because it will yellow a little bit more. Every epoxy yellows, some faster than others. CCDIY does not recommend fast set epoxy on white or light cups because of the way the formula is. So I just added a little bit of blue alcohol ink and enough just to tint the epoxy blue, and then added it to my cup, and I definitely did not see any blue on the cup, but I didn't see any yellow either. So I also recommend when you're doing a white cup, whether with fast set or regular artist resin epoxy, be careful not to burn it with your torch. So I did slow down the video a little bit of me using the torch so you could see how it goes. Using a torch, which is like camping gas, propane on your tumblers, is like one of the best ways to give a glass-like finish versus like the kitchen torches. I'm using a torch head from ccdiy.com and absolutely love it. Once you are done and your epoxy is fully cured, you are now going to carefully put the gold offset outline on the leaves. I use Cricut transfer tape. You are not required to use that. It's just what I prefer, but you're going to want to be careful. Just take your time and be patient, but you can also go back in and move any of the lines that don't line up perfectly when you set it down the first time. I do recommend doing this in sections the best that you can, as little sections as little as you can, because the bigger ones get a little bit tougher to do, like on the bottom half of the cup. The section was pretty big because there was no way to really separate it, and it made things a little bit difficult. So I definitely recommend taking your time, being patient, and going from there. Once you are done fidgeting with the gold outline, you are then going to take a little bit of Quick Coat. You don't have to do this. I use Quick Coat from CC DIY over metallic vinyl because sometimes metallic vinyl doesn't really stick down the best way that it's supposed to. So I just put a very thin coat over the metallic vinyl. I would do like maybe 2 coats. Once it's fully dry is when you can then epoxy. If you epoxy before it is fully dried, then it will have like a white cloudiness to your epoxy. I did have a piece of vinyl that was sticking up a lot and would not go down. So I went ahead and just took a little bit of UV resin and kind of held it down and put a UV lamp over it just to help myself out. Once that UV cured and the Quick Coat was dry, I went ahead and added my next coat of epoxy, which was about 20 milliliters. This is the layer of the decal that I'm going to be doing on this. I took her logo and kind of reworked it in Cricut Design Space and Canva, and then I layered it and added it to the cup. I definitely recommend you guys check out Terry. She's awesome. She's great with branding and social media and great for small businesses or even personal needs. So this is her website here. Enjoy. I'm going to make a blog to go along with this video, and if you liked it, please subscribe, like, leave any comments below. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you guys next time.